Good morning, everyone. We'll just wait a few more minutes a couple of seconds just to let everybody join. We've got lots of people on the call this morning, which is fantastic. Morning, Ralph from East Lothian. Good morning. I think we'll kick off. Absolutely delighted to see you all this morning. We've got 160 people coming on the call this morning, which is fantastic. Absolutely delighted that everybody's so engaged, and I'm really pleased to be welcoming all of our partners for business and Trade Supplier Plus, and give you this opportunity to meet our fabulous experts. We see our partners as a really key part of our member benefits, so absolutely delighted that everybody's here today. We thought we'd kick off very quickly by just giving you a bit of an update about short-term let licensing, our favourite subject. As you'll know by now, the Scottish Government laid the statutory instrument last week. And we are incredibly disappointed that after 5.5 years, they haven't actually changed the SSI and the legislation to the extent that we wanted them to. We're carrying on the conversation. We've got lots left to do, but we need your help. Now, I'm just going to hand over right now to Jo Miller from Gilson Gray, who's just going to explain just a little bit about the statutory process that we're about to go through. Jo, can I hand over to you?
Yes, thanks, Fiona. So I'm Jo. Some of you already have seen me on these. I'm a solicitor at Gilson Gray. And I said to Fiona I would happily explain the background here, because I know it's a wee bit complicated and we'll talk about new law, but not terribly helpful if you perhaps don't understand what's happening. So there is new law, and there's a number of ways to introduce new law. You can either have a completely new piece of law, or you can slot that new concept into an existing piece of legislation. And that's what's happened here is the existing law has been amended. So the Civic Government Scotland Act 1982 has been amended to take into account this new proposal. And what that means is it's basically being slotted in or bolted on, however you prefer to look at it. The problem with that is the 1982 Act, it's been going for nearly 40 years, and one would hope the Scottish Government doesn't mess about with it. But the difficulty here is some of the proposals were changing quite material aspects of this. They were changing the way applications were processed and dealt with, and there was a proposal to introduce over-provision. And that means, simply put, the number of premises. And over-provision is not an existing consideration in the 1982 Act. So there was a great deal of concern about this. The legislation does not come into force just by magic or by approval under wraps. It has to be public, it has to be consulted on. There has been consultations, and the stage that this piece of legislation is at is with the Housing Committee of the Scottish Government. And basically the Housing Committee is going to take evidence over the next few weeks and then needs to report back. And it will report back to the Scottish Parliament. Now, one of the main issues here is the document which outlines what this new law is cannot be amended at this stage. Once it's before this committee, it needs to go ahead in the form it's in. So that's a problem, because it's got to be a yes or no. It can't be, we like this bit but don't like this bit. And we've already gone through one process where it was not approved because of the content and the way in which that content was explained. So now it's a case of waiting to see what the committee's view is. But one of the positives here is that Fiona is likely to be asked, and the ASSC through Fiona are likely to be asked to give evidence. So your position can be put forward.
Thanks, Jo. That's really helpful. Just to let you know, we're now running a webinar on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, and we're being joined by David Weston from the Scottish Bed and Breakfast Association, by representatives from the Scotland's Best B&Bs and also Scottish Land and Estates. Jo's joining us. We're going to be discussing all the pros and cons and what's going to happen next, and also what you can do to help. But one of the key points at this point is that this is not lost. We are really disappointed with where we're at, really disappointed. But what we need you to do is we need you to write to your MSPs and we need you to write to your councillors. So whatever local authority you're in, you need to write to your councillor, because I think that councils are now really the key to unlocking this piece of legislation. Councils simply can't deliver this, and it's unfair for them to be expected to deliver it, but they possibly don't realise the massive burden that they're about to have forced upon them. So please write to your MSPs, please write to your councillors, but do also join us on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock if you can. Again, we'll record the session, but if you can join us, it would be fantastic. We've put some news pieces up. If you can have a look at them, we'll help you through this. We'll do everything that we can, and we are going to not leave any stone unturned until this is not the disaster that we think it's going to be. So please join us on Thursday. Please write to your representatives. We'll carry on fighting for you. But today's session is about meeting our fabulous experts and how we can help to put you in touch with people that can help your business. I'm going to hand over to Mel at this point, who's going to take over. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Fiona, and that's a really good update for everybody. And now we come into the main part of our session, and I'm delighted to introduce our Meet the Expert session. It's probably one of the best sessions that we do because it involves all of our partners for business. And what they get to do is to introduce you to their business and the latest products and trends and services that are available in the industry today. Our partners are leaders in their field, and we're really excited to hear from them. Each partner is going to have a 5-minute pitch to introduce you to themselves, and it's going to be a really punchy and exciting session. So we're going to kick off first, just to mention that we are going to provide more information at the end and after the session on each partner. So we'll provide that on our website and members area. But if you've got any questions during the session, we've got our Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be collating all of the questions, and then we can answer those and produce a Q&A handout at the end. So first up, as our partner is Patrice from Airbnb, and Patrice is going to now have 5 minutes introducing Airbnb and what's going on. So Patrice, over to you.
Thank you, Mel, and good morning, everyone. My name is Patrice. I'm the market manager for Scotland at Airbnb. Very thrilled to be here. This is the first time we actually intervened because we actually still just finalizing the terms of the partnership, the new partnership with ASSC. So this is a great opportunity to introduce myself and what we do. I assume most of you already know Airbnb, and I know many of you are already using Airbnb, as a matter of fact. But of course, quickly, we are an online travel agency, and where you can advertise your properties to the worldwide demand that we have on our website. And I wanted also to introduce you, not talking, but who will certainly join later in this partnership. My manager, James, is the field operations manager for Northern Europe. And very specifically, Mary is our policy manager, so she's going to be involved in policy questions, and including what we just saw, and you all very well aware, the new short stay licensing scheme, obviously. And so in the coming year, we're planning to have events in partnership with ASSC, webinars mostly, and COVID permitting in-person events in Scotland, hopefully. And our plan, of course, is to share with you all the data we can about Airbnb. So the trends from guests and where they come from, where they're going, what they're looking for, how long they're staying, all this kind of valuable information that can help you attract this demand, obviously, in your own properties. We also intend to share updates about the new features and that we're releasing, especially based on your feedback. So it's also an opportunity to gather your feedback about the product itself, what you want to see on Airbnb that is not there and we would like us to implement. As an example, you might be aware that earlier this month, Airbnb released many new features, many of them being based on actual feedback we received, and I received personally from some of you in Scotland. For example, there's a new extended host guarantee that everyone benefits on Airbnb that now also covers for pet damage, which wasn't the case before, and deep cleaning, as you call it. That's definitely something we hear a lot, especially from professional hosts, obviously. So, like I said, the partnership is brand new and kicking, so it's still to be confirmed. But next event starting next year, we're planning certainly to start with a webinar that we confirm with ASSC. And in the meantime, of course, I want to give you an opportunity to reach out to me if you need. There's this email address at the bottom. Maybe we can share it a bit later in the chat, for example. Maybe if Mel, you want to do this. And this email address is dedicated to professional hosts. So for all of you, this is for anyone, even if you're not yet on Airbnb, you have some questions about the website, the product, or you want to join, obviously. And for existing hosts as well, if you have any specific question about optimizing your listings or any technical questions as well, for example, if you're using a channel manager. So any kind of question that our general customer support would not necessarily be able to support you with because it's very specific to professionals. This inbox is managed by myself, so do not hesitate to send any question here. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So very happy to start this brand new partnership with ASSC, and hopefully very soon we'll have a first webinar that you can all attend. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Patrice. That's great. Thanks for the introduction. And I've shared your email address on the chat function. Hopefully I've got that correct. So
Thank you.
Email you direct. That's brilliant. Thanks very much. Next is Jess Kelso from Beyond. Jess, are you there? Brilliant.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Mel and Joyce and Fiona, for having us today. As Mel said, my name is Jess and I'm the Director of Customer Experience here at Beyond for Europe. I'm originally from Australia. I was living in San Francisco for 10 years before spending the last year between London and Barcelona. So please excuse my accent as it dips in and out of a variety of influences. But enough about me, let's talk about Beyond. So at Beyond, we help our users with revenue management, and we specialize in dynamic pricing, which is essentially adjusting rates for your holiday lets based on changes in demand trends that we see in the market. So it's just like you'll see for airlines, to fly on a Friday afternoon or evening is almost always more expensive than to fly at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, for example, because the demand is different. And so the same thing happens with holiday lets. And I'm sure many of you have a high season and a low season price, or a different price for short breaks on a weekday or a weekend, which is a great start. But how do you know that your prices are right? Imagine if you sold out August for £1,000 a week when there are people who are very happy to pay £1,200 a week for the same weeks. Or what if you have your low season price set to £500 for the week and you're accustomed to getting a couple of bookings, but if you lowered it even to say £450 a week, you could fill the whole month of January. That's where Beyond comes in. So what we do is we take a look at all of the data from numerous sources, such as our friends at Airbnb, Vrbo, and Expedia, and we help holiday let owners and agencies accurately price their properties. So we do this by increasing the rates for high demand dates, such as a bank holiday or a week in August, and then increasing occupancy for shoulder and low season. And so then this combination helps owners and agencies increase revenue overall for the properties. So for presentations like these, I often jump straight into the tool and let it speak for itself, but I wanted to come up with something a bit different for today. And so ahead of this presentation, I asked the team, if there's one thing you could highlight for a potential customer to get them excited about Beyond in 1 minute, what would it be? So here goes. Vince on our sales team, he mentioned that he loves all the historical data that the tool uses, which helps us to identify trends and set these prices. So although our company may be relatively new to many of you here, we have been monitoring short-term rental trends across Scotland since 2013, and having this rich library of historical data really does ensure that we have accurate pricing. On the flip side, if we've learned anything from the past couple of years, it's that historical data doesn't always help us make the best decisions. The seesaw of restrictions and pent-up demand that we've seen throughout 2020 and 2021 has led to booking patterns and pricing like we've never seen before. And Aaron on our revenue management team said something that I loved, so I'm sharing it here word for word. The algorithm tells us what the newspapers don't. So the forward-looking demand trends that we monitor and incorporate into our pricing are invaluable with the times that we find ourselves in. Our revenue management team, they monitor these markets and do a deep dive to understand whether demand trends are aligning with previous years and where they're deviating, to make sure that we can help automatically update your pricing to reflect any shifts, expected or unexpected, in the demand trends. And finally, one of our customer success managers, Anna, wanted me to highlight how we also surface a lot of the information that we use to make pricing decisions for you in the tool. So we show this information at 3 levels: at the individual property level, at your portfolio level, if you manage more than one property, and for your market as a whole. And so this information can give you a good snapshot of how you're performing your properties year on year, either compared to the market or compared to other properties in your portfolio. Or if you work at an agency and you work with individual owners, it can be a great source of information to share with them about the performance of the property and how it's doing compared to the market. So at Beyond, we offer a free 30-day trial, so you can take a look at the software and test it out. We connect with a lot of property management systems like SuperControl and Guesty, and we have a great support team who are here and in the US that have a good technical knowledge both of Beyond and products like SuperControl and Guesty. And when I told them I was speaking to this group today, they wanted to offer ASSC members the ability to book a 20-minute consultation to answer any of your questions you have about how Beyond might work, or take a look at your portfolio and offer suggestions based on what we're seeing in your market as a whole. So if you're interested in taking us up on this, you can see my email there. It's just jess@beyondpricing.com, and I'll send you a link where you can schedule some time with anyone on our customer experience team to take a look at your account and see what advice they have. The free trial doesn't start until you're done syncing on, so you can connect your properties and take a look and let us know if you have any questions. And yeah, I think that's it from me today. I just want to say thank you so much to the ASSC for bringing us all together. And yeah, I can't wait to hear from the rest of the partners.
Brilliant, Jess. Thanks ever so much. That was great. And I think you were really close to the 5-minute mark. So I think in terms of the competition for hitting the 5 minutes, you were really close there. So
I'm so pleased, Mel.
Thanks very much for that. And I think the whole subject around pricing is a really interesting proposition. So yeah, we'll definitely be circulating the details for members to actually find out more about that. So that's brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Jess. Right, next we've got Derek Nicol from Bruce Stevenson. And Bruce Stevenson have been a long-standing partner for business. So I'm really delighted to be hearing from Derek this morning. So Derek, I'm just going to ask you to unmute if you can and start your video. There you go.
Can you see me?
Yes. Hi, Derek.
What a shame. Yeah. Thank you, Mel. And happy St. Andrew's Day, everyone. I don't have any fancy background, so this is what an insurance broker's office looks like. My name's Derek Nicol, and I have had the good fortune of meeting a large number of ASSC members at the conferences over the years. I'm the account executive in charge of hospitality at Bruce Stevenson, and I head up a team who are fabulous and do a great job for all our clients. Anyone that's already a client may have dealt with Fiona. Fiona Reid is our hospitality manager, and Ian's also just joined the team due to the large number of inquiries that we receive on a daily basis. Many of those come from the ASSC members, so thank you very much for that. Bruce Stevenson is part of the Aston Lark Group as of March of this year, and Aston Lark themselves has just recently been acquired by Howdens, so a large outfit, really dealing in specialist markets, including the hospitality sector. So between Fiona and I, we've got 40 years of experience in the self-catering sector, and hopefully for anybody that deals with us, that's evident. we are a specialist broker, as I say, so we look after the self-catering scheme, which is administered by Royal & Son Alliance, and it's particularly tailored to the Scottish market, although we do a significant amount of business in the north of England as well. So it doesn't exclude any other parts of the UK, but it's primarily for the Scottish market. That was our selling pitch to our SA when we asked them to become our partners. In the few years that we've been ASSC members, I'm delighted to say that we now insure hundreds of properties for ASSC members, and we're delighted to be able to do that. Most of that's arranged just by completing fact finds and then doing all the business really over the phone or by email. However, if it's a complex risk or a larger risk, then it's one I'm always happy to come out and see. So I try and make sure I've got appointments in the same area at the same time. So if I've got add-in appointments, for example, I'll try and make sure that I've got 2 or 3 at the same time just to make the journey across worthwhile. So more than happy to come out and see any clients if they've got complex needs. So we quote for self-catering risks, pure self-catering risks, or ones where there's a mix. So we'll have clients that live in a big house, but they've also got, they do bed and breakfast, and then they've got self-catering activities as well. We've also got larger self-catering risks that also do weddings and functions and things like that. That doesn't sit in the scheme, but we do have external partners that would be more than happy to quote for that as well. So we do an awful lot of that type of business too. So on that point, I would just ask that anybody that's on the call today, and ASSC members in general, I would just ask that they make sure that the business description is correctly stated on any insurance that they have. So if you're doing any other activities on the property, that's noted. For example, if you've got fishing or if you've got an activity park or anything like that, that's noted on the schedule, so that if there's any liability claims in particular that come as a result of that, then there's not going to be any, well, that's a grey area, or you didn't tell us about that. So it's hugely important that. What I would say our challenges are at the moment is particularly flooding continues to be a challenge for us. If you've got a private residence, you can access the government's flood scheme. However, that's not yet been extended to any commercial activities, and we really need the government to do that in order to open up the markets a little bit more. It means that there are cases, unfortunately, even on our books, that we've picked up where we can't get flood cover because perhaps they've had a large flood claim before, or they are on a floodplain. So we would really like to see the government do a little bit more in respect of that, and it would help us considerably. But we manage these challenges and do the best that we can. Escape of water claims still account for 2/3 of all claims made. So your escape of waters from the bathroom, the upstairs ensuite, etc. These are pretty much, as I say, 2/3 of claims coming in. The rest are just made up of storm damage, accidental damage, theft by guests, etc. But by far and away, the largest number of claims still comes from the escape of water. We are in negotiations with insurers just now about offering a leak bot system to ASSC members. Hopefully we'll be able to give more news on that shortly, but we're hoping that if they do offer a leak bot, the client would then be able to monitor any escape of water from the property and at least flag up an alarm, even if they're remote from the property itself. General increases in claims costs due to availability of materials and also the availability of labour. And this obviously has a knock-on effect on premiums as well. So that's the challenges that we've got to deal with, but we try and do our best to make sure that we deal with those challenges so you don't have to. We are very heavily invested in the sector. We're, as well as being partners for business for the ASSC, we're also patrons of the Scottish Tourism Alliance, supporters of HIT Scotland, and proud sponsors of the best self-catering experience at the Visit Scotland Thistle Awards. So we're happy to assist any of our members. There's a link on the ASSC website, takes you straight through to our website. There's also an event, you can book an appointment that way, or pick up the phone or email and speak to myself and Fiona. We'll be more than happy to help. And we are delighted to continue to be partners for business with the ASSC. And I look forward to hopefully meeting more of you at the next actual conference. Thank you very much, Mel.
Thanks, Derek. That's brilliant. Thanks so much. And it's such a shame not to be able to see you in person, as we did, you know, several times over the ASSC conference. But rest assured, I think there are thoughts in the pipeline that we might get some regional events in, hopefully next year, fingers crossed. So hopefully we'll be able to actually get up and meet in person. So, but that's brilliant. Thanks so much for the introduction and that overview. That's great. Next, we've got David Robinson, another long-standing partner for business with the ASSC is the Cumberland. Hi, David.
Hi, can you see me okay?
Can't see you at the moment.
Oh, that's see me now? No?
No. Yes. We
Good
can
stuff.
see you.
You see me now? Right, that's great.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name's David. I'm head of intermediary lending at the Cumberland, with responsibility for a team that looks after a holiday let proposition at the Cumberland Building Society. We have been partners with ASSC for many years. I'm sure a number of you will know the Cumberland, may indeed be customers of the Cumberland Building Society. To give you an update on who we are and what we do in the sector, Cumberland are the 10th largest building society in the UK. We are an established lender in the holiday let and indeed hospitality sectors. And we've got real expertise in the holiday let market in terms of lending on holiday let properties. Our teams have got a depth of experience in the sector. We've worked in the holiday let space for many, many years. And we lend throughout mainland UK with particular emphasis on Scotland. We have lent in Scotland for many, many years. It's a key part of our proposition, Scotland, and indeed, unlike a number of other lenders in the UK who lend in the holiday let space, we do look to lend on properties on a number of the Scottish islands as well, which includes Arran, Mull, Skye, Lewis and Harris. So that gives us an advantage and really makes us a real key focus lender in the Scottish market. We have grown our holiday let team even further in the last 12 months. We've seen continued growth in our holiday let lending. We can see continued opportunity in the holiday let market going forwards, and we've worked really hard over the last 12 months to look at what our products are, what our proposition is, and try and help grow our proposition in the holiday let space to help as many people as possible. We've got a team of relationship managers in my team who will guide any of you through the process of applying for a holiday let mortgage with the Cumberlands. We can talk you through the whole process. We can give you advice on aspects of our lending policy, what to look out for, what we need in terms of our underwriting approach to holiday lets. One of the other things we've spent time on to try and help support our customers is developing a really, really excellent holiday let hub that we have on our website. If you go onto the Cumberland website, and I think we've got a link that you can see below, we've developed a holiday let hub that gives customers really good in-depth information on all aspects of how to apply for holiday lets, and also any other key information you might want to find about the whole mortgage process and applying with the Cumberlands. A couple of other things to mention. We lend to first-time holiday let investors, and indeed we lend to anybody that's got a major holiday let portfolio as well. We finance properties in various entities, and we will also consider full refurbishments of properties. So there's a whole range of opportunities that you have with the Cumberlands, and we'd be very, very happy to speak to anybody if you have got any planned purchases coming up or looking to expand your portfolio further. One other thing to just point out, as I said earlier, in addition to the holiday let sector, we are a major lender in the hospitality market as well, with particular emphasis on hotels, guest houses, bed and breakfast. So another area for you to perhaps consider speaking to Cumberland about. So certainly we've enjoyed a really long-standing relationship with ASSC. We're really keen to help support anybody that might be looking for another holiday let purchase. So please, you'll have the contact details here, and we can follow up afterwards as well. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
That's great. Thank you, David. Thanks so much. We really do value the long-standing relationship with the Cumberland, and thanks for highlighting all those services. I'm sure that's going to be really useful to members. That's great. Thank you. Next up, we've got Callum Almond from DM Hall. Hi, Callum.
Hi there. Hi, thanks. As she said, my name's Callum, and I'm head of architectural services at DM Hall. DM Hall has a network of nationwide offices offering residential and commercial surveying. Based out of our Dunfermline office, Architectural Services Department provides a wide range of complementary services. We offer deed plan preparation, which will assist in conveyancing processes if you're buying and selling your property. I like to believe that our service is second to none, and we can prepare plans based on existing documents that you have or site surveys to establish the actual situation on the ground. And if you're buying property and you're separating it into multiple parts, that can be especially helpful. We also offer a complete building warrant and planning permission service. So if you're planning any extensions or alterations to your property, we can prepare expert advice on kind of statutory permissions, being planning permission, list building warrant, or any, if your building's listed as well, listed building consents, and we can assist in obtaining those. But a lot of what we do is, if you have already carried out alterations to your properties and you're concerned that you should have maybe obtained some consent prior to doing that, we can inspect the properties and advise you on the best way to proceed. This is especially important during property sales, and it can be a time-consuming process. So if you do have any concerns about that, just get in touch. The department can also prepare plans for alcohol licensing. So if you have any properties that you're planning to sell alcohol, a licensing plan is a key part of that, and we can assist with helping. Another popular service that we have at the moment is boundary reports. These reports can clarify your property boundaries and help achieve any amicable resolutions with neighbours if you have any issues with them. These reports can be carried out as part of a direct instruction or through lawyers and other professionals. Aside from these services, we can also undertake a wide range of general drawing work, such as floor plan preparations, which we can prepare for marketing or advertising material, and also space planning. So we can look at the properties, kind of figure out where you can put the beds, how many you can fit in, and similarly, we can prepare the same for grounds. So if you're looking at putting sleeping pods or something like that on your grounds, we can assist with how best to lay those out. DM Hall is celebrating its 125th anniversary next year, and Architectural Services has been providing these sorts of services to clients for just over 20 years now. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. You can get hold of me on the email address or telephone numbers. We also have a direct inbox at assc@dmhall.co.uk. If you send it there, it will get to the team. As it short, I was told to keep it short and sweet, so I have.
That's brilliant, Callum. Thanks ever so much. And we will share contact details with members. It's great that a lot of our partners have got specific email addresses or or contact details specific for ASSC members. So that's really great, thank you. So next on the agenda, we've got Scott from EQ Accountants. Hi, Scott. I'm just going to see if we can help you.
I hope you can hear me. I don't know if you can see me.
Yes, I can hear you, Scott. I'm just see if we can get your video on. There we go. Brilliant.
There we go. Perfect. So yeah, thanks to Mel, Fiona, and everyone at the SSC for having me along today. Just to give you a bit of background of who EQ are and what we could do for you and your business. I'm a partner at EQ Accountants. We're an accountancy, tax and business advisory firm in Scotland with offices on the East Coast, Forfar, Dundee and Glenrothes. However, I think over the last 18 months, we've come to realise that physical location isn't that important. And we do have clients as far south as London, and I've got clients as far north as Shetland, so quite diverse. I'm a partner in our Dundee office and also head EQ Leisure, a bespoke group of accountants and tax advisors for the growing leisure industry, which over the last 18 months we've seen an incredible growth in the number of clients and also the variety of services that we're looking to provide. Certainly from COVID, initially we undertook a lot more management accounting, preparing accurate management information to help secure COVID grants, sources of finance to help businesses through this incredibly tough time. And that has not stopped. Businesses have found the use of having up-to-date management information, and we continue to provide ongoing services. We do, of course, provide standard compliance work, be that furnished holiday let accounts, partnership, personal tax returns, but we've certainly seen a growth in more advisory services, particularly around business structure and looking at the various taxes that may or may not change in the coming years, particularly likes of capital gains tax, inheritance tax, and land and buildings transaction tax. The Chancellor did announce the budget just over a month ago, which there was speculation for some quite significant overhauls in some of these areas, which we were delighted transpired not to happen. However, I think that's only kicking the can down the road. And speculation is that these main taxes, capital gains tax and inheritance tax, will be radically overhauled in the coming years. And therefore, the time is right now to be engaging with professional advisors to ensuring your business is still in the right structure, future-proofed as much as possible, and if possible, taking advantage of existing reliefs that are out there that in the future may or may not be there. So we've certainly been involved in this, and that could come in the form of sole traders or partnerships looking to change business structure and to potentially avoid excessive rates of Scottish income tax or UK income tax if they're located in other parts of the country, moving into a corporate structure. It could be passing assets in lifetime to future generations and crystallising reliefs to try and minimise any tax in lifetime gifts. Or it could just be, ensuring the business that might have seen substantial growth over the last 18 months, as we have seen, and profits are becoming at a level that are becoming unmanageable in the current structure. So it's looking at all these things in the round. And unfortunately with tax, normally you solve one problem, you crystallise another. So it's taking a wider approach and making sure all these things are explored in full prior to any fundamental changes. And another area that we have been focusing a lot on is VAT. As you will be aware, VAT in the leisure sector has gone up and down considerably over the last 18 months again, with a recent change from the 1st of October, and we're in this interim period, which ends at the end of March. So we've been dealing with clients and ensuring their record systems can handle these changes. They are continually to record the correct amount of VAT and not get themselves in troubles on that front. And also those that haven't been VAT registered in the past because of demand and increased prices they're maybe seeing an increase in their baseline turnover, which may be pushing them towards the VAT threshold. And we're looking at managing that and implementing any measures we can do. So yeah, we're certainly seeing a move from the traditional just accounts and tax services to a lot more of the business advisory work, which we love to get involved with. We have a very substantial leisure portfolio, and we're a proud sponsor of the SC for a number of years. Last, I would say, although the UK budget was just announced, the Scottish budget is scheduled to be announced on the 9th of December by Kate Forbes. So we'll see what they say in terms of income tax rates and bands, and whether they'll maybe follow suit to the UK style and not move them. But time will tell. And as always with tax, it's always got to be proactive. So I just encourage you to engage with your advisors, or if you have any comments or queries, by all means, my contact details are there, and I would happily answer anything I can. I'll pass back to you, Melanie.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Scott. I think that's hugely valuable to have that business focus, and particularly at these times at the moment, with all the uncertainty. And I know that EQ accountants were really helpful, and we collaborated a lot with them through the COVID grant schemes, and just getting information out to members was really valuable. So we've still got loads of really interesting partners to come, including Zeal, which are also tax specialists, and they'll be coming and giving a presentation shortly. So that's really interesting. Next, we've got Joe Miller from Gilson Gray, who's going to give us more information about the services offered by Gilson Gray. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Hi all. So I'm just going to try and share my screen, if that's going to work. I'm not always, there we go.
That's great. Thanks, Joe. We've got that.
Okay, that's good. So basically, as we said at the beginning, I'm from Gilson Gray. We're a solicitors firm, and I'm a legal director. So one of the things I just wanted to go through was what we do, because I know that when you hear solicitor, people quite often think, well, I don't need a solicitor. Why would I need a solicitor? So this is a list of all the things we do, and you can see that there's a number here. And some of them are licensing based, and there are quite a lot of business based, but there's also quite a number of personal services. So you can get a link to this on the ASSC website after this talk. The slides will be there, and also on our website. So my specialisms are licensing, which probably comes no surprise, and corporate. And there's a question I'm often asked, which is, what are they? So licensing covers everything from pubs and restaurants to boating lakes, second-hand dealers, houses and multiple occupation, and potentially now short-term lets. And licensing can be everything from alcohol licensing, which I think in fairness is one of the first things people think about. As soon as you say the word license, they don't necessarily think short-term let or HMO. They quite often think pub, club, restaurant. And actually licensing is much bigger than that. And as we mentioned at the beginning, the licensing which may affect you is the 1982 Act, which we refer to as general licensing. So that is things like taxis and second-hand dealer licenses, laters, catering licenses if people want to stay open late, and also street trader licenses, for example, if people want to have a pop-up or a van and they want to sell food from that, for example. So licensing of itself really does cover a number of things. And then we move on to corporate. And this can sound like a bit of a black art when you say corporate, or it sounds very American. And actually, it just means business. It really just means what you guys do every day. So from that point of view, why might you want to speak to me about your business? Well, apart from things like licensing, if we get to the stage where you need to apply for a license, there's a whole range of other things you might want to speak to me about. And for example, what's your setup? Are you a sole trader? Do you have limited liability by protecting yourself by being a limited company? Is that something you might want to think about? And people quite often presume a limited company is very difficult, And really, it's not. There are a number of things to think about, but it doesn't need to be complicated. Do you have more than one business? So do you have an organised structure, or do you run the businesses side by side, but without really thinking about whether they complement each other or not? Are they linked, and should they be linked? So are you the sole person involved in both? Do you perhaps want to set up separate companies? And again, this might all sound very complicated, but actually there can be really good reasons for both linking and not linking businesses, but you want to be clear that you've made that decision yourself. So there could be a good tax reason for linking them. There might be, if you want to develop part of your business and then maybe sell that off, if you've got a 3 or a 5 year plan, then you might not want to link that. You might want that to be separate to your main business. So say, for example, you have a holiday let, but you also offer fishing or a boat tour or something like that. You might want that add-on to be something you develop and sell. But if you're thinking about that, we want to think about your structure now and the best way to plan to put you in the best position. And even if you only have one holiday let and you run that, is there a better way to do it? And one of the things we're looking at with a number of you are terms and conditions. So this is the kinds of things that I'm speaking to people about. And I know prenups and postnups, again, sound really American. But if you have a business and your partner isn't involved in that business, sometimes it's something you want to think about. Or if you have children who are getting involved in the business, but they're getting married or they're going off into their own lives, but they're still involved in your business, it can be really important to have a family agreement. So these are the kinds of things that we give advice on. And while this can all sound very confusing and you're thinking, how do I get my head around this? Phone me or email me. We carry out a free business check for you. So I'll spend 20 minutes, half an hour talking you through what you do and how we can possibly help and how there might be a better way to structure it or consider it. So pick up the phone or drop me an email.
I think you were bob on then, Jo. That's great. That's going to take some beating. It's really interesting actually to for you to highlight all of the different services that you offer, because I think if businesses, particularly at this time of change, are looking at diversifying or developing their business model, with all of our Partners for Business, we've got a huge range of expertise there for people to tap into. So this is all really interesting, and just providing those contact details for, you know, that expert advice is really useful. So thanks very much for highlighting that. That's great. So moving on, we've next got Andrew Ratcliffe, who is from Noise Aware. Hi, Andrew.
Hello. Yeah, got back last night from sunny Lanzarote. They just missed having to do more tests, but anyway, back in, the wind was terrible where I am in Liverpool. So many trees on the ground. But yes, so Andrew from Noise Aware, kind of been in the industry since 2012. Did work in the camping pods, then 6.5 years at Airbnb doing supply and business travel. But these days representing Noise Aware. So since February, been helping them launch internationally. The history of Noise Aware is one of the co-founders had a unit in Texas, and there was a load of parties over a weekend, but he didn't know about it because even though he was very close to unit a couple of miles away. So from there, he met another co-founder and they began to think about what's an idea of a solution to help kind of monitor noise remotely. So as you see today in the photograph, there's one of our sensors plugged in. So essentially what Noise Aware is a 100% privacy safe noise monitoring solution in the way that a thermostat measures temperature in your property. The thermostat device and sensor measures the noise level, and using our artificial intelligence kind of translate that level of noise happening in the property at that moment into a noise risk score. So really it's kind of the key reason that we have Noise Aware is and users across the different countries and the US, Europe, Australia, is one is to stop noise, because noise can be a big indication of potential damage taking place. And obviously, if there's damage to your property, that could lose to loss of income, cleaning fees, and cancellations taking place. So that's one of the main reason that people use noise aware. Also, a second element, and especially when we've been working with clients in Edinburgh, is really about making sure that community relations are in good health. So by the fact that the noise aware product is installed in the property, it gives yourself as a property owner and also the neighbours who may be kind of facing or very close to property extra peace of mind that the guests will not be too loud and disrupt kind of the local neighbourhood that they're in whilst during their stay. So you'll see that we have a risk score of 0 to 100. So if you put kind of loud music on, it'll probably get to about 40 out of 100. But then as soon as you get kind of more people, noise increase in density, and that's when you have noise plus people speaking, maybe starting to sing and shout, that's when the noise levels goes up. And the thresholds on our app and dashboard basically notify you as a property manager of when the noise is reaching levels that we deem as too loud. And that's when you can go and reach out to the guests, either by text message or call them to say, please be aware of the noise that's taking place. So you set the thresholds accordingly when you think you would like to, for example. In terms of the other kind of opposite benefits is that actually if there's false noise complaints, so sometimes the unhappy neighbours can say it's making noise, but actually you have the historical data on your noise aware dashboard to demonstrate noise levels. And there has been instances where Airbnb guests, it's been used with Airbnb to demonstrate that there hasn't been noise created if guests say it's trying to get refunds and had issues along there. It's also a preventative measure. So if you have guests who are potentially looking to have a party in your unit or Airbnb listing or apartment or house, the fact that they will see prior to booking that you have this product installed may prevent them booking in the first place because they know that actually you will be kind of keeping an eye on the property during their stay. Other benefits, actually, it does actually demonstrate if your Wi-Fi is functioning well, as it uses the Wi-Fi to kind of send the data from your property to your dashboard and app. If your Wi-Fi is not acting well, it will flick off and you'll be notified that it's disconnected. So it has been used by several people to actually understand there's actually been problems with the Wi-Fi in the property, and they've been able to solve that after it. Some of our larger clients like Sonder, Altido, Reserve Apartments in Edinburgh, and it's actually part of their business kind of tool to demonstrate to new clients that are trying to onboard that they are being very proactive in their relationships with managing their property, but also making sure that it's not damaged, which is obviously a big concern to homeowners. So actually demonstrating they're being proactive, and also to the local community and also the local government as well. We are seeing especially a bit more in the United States at the moment, some local towns and small cities are asking all homeowners in their region to start installing noise monitoring devices to really kind of create a good atmosphere for the neighbours and also protect the local neighbourhoods. In terms of how we operate, so there's no cost for the hardware. So we work on a subscription service, so it's normally a 12-month contract. So we supply the devices, and then we set you up with an onboarding, and then you have the app. So you basically use the app with your Bluetooth on your phone, plug it in. There's a little sticker on the back, so if people try to pull it out, there is resistance. And then use the Bluetooth, the app, connect to the Wi-Fi. And so it only takes about 5 minutes to set up. And then from there, straight away, you'll be able to kind of look at noise levels. So even if your cleaners go in and they're doing some hoovering, you'll see a spike. So it does demonstrate that your cleaners are going in. But it just gives you a good data point. So if you have like several properties in different locations all the time, you can just look in the app or dashboard and see what's taking place. So any more information, there's our website, noiseaware.com/learn-more. So you get more information there, or email myself on my email there. So that's it, Melanie.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Andrew. That's really good. And I think it's really important that we see these innovative products coming through. And I know Fiona's had lots of chats with you about looking at ways to support the ASSC's offering as part of the ASSC's proposals for a registration scheme. And I think it's something to look to the future for innovation to kind of tackle some of these isolated problems. So that's absolutely brilliant. Thanks for highlighting that. And again, we'll be sharing your details. Next up, we've got Stephen Dring from Pure Utilities. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Mel. Can you hear me?
I can, yes. Just need your video.
That's a good start.
Great. Lovely to see you.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Mel. And first of all, good morning to everybody. Good morning to the ASSC, its members and my fellow business partners. We're delighted to be working with the ASSC, one of its newest business partners. Pure Utilities is, I suppose, quite still a young company within the water industry, but we've grown significantly in the 6 or 7 years that we've been going. And in fact, in the new year, we're moving to some big new offices as we're actually recruiting and actually getting more and more into different areas of the water industry and the various marketplaces that it covers. So we're delighted to have this opportunity to sort of give you a little bit of information about Pure Utilities and hopefully where we can help and support everybody as we go into 2022. Pure Utilities is one of Scottish Water's main licence providers, and we look after nearly 8,000 businesses across Scotland, including 2,500 self-catering businesses. So all of our clients have varying requirements from small to multi-site requirements. It really doesn't matter what size of business you are. We have a very, very personable service here, and the same level of service and commitment and advice is available to everybody, regardless of the size of business that you are. We do work very, very closely with Scottish Water on a wide range of projects, and obviously recently we've all seen the climate conference in Glasgow, where Scottish Water were incredibly active. And obviously we're looking at working with them on various projects such as saving water, the environment, and eco-friendly water projects as well. So there's a lot going on in the industry at the moment. And I suppose it can be a very, very technical industry for a lot of people that don't know a lot about it. I speak to a lot of customers who sometimes don't really understand what they're being charged for or why they're being charged for it. And we've been able to help and support those customers and help them navigate their way around what sometimes can be quite a complicated charging system and complicated industry. But we do want to ensure that all of our clients receive competitive pricing for their commercial water requirements, but we're also here to help and support with advice and education, really about the water industry in general. You know, and that could be on topics such as metering, it could be consumption, it could be preparing for winter, and even explaining, as I said, some of the jargon which now appears on many of the water bills that we receive as businesses. Our main priority is to support and work with the ASSC members with whatever water services your businesses require. And to that end, we have a fantastic customer service team available to help with all of the customer requirements that you need. We have a lot of specialists here at Pure. We have people like new connection specialists. We even have trade effluent specialists. You know, we not only deal with what you might call a normal business requirement, but we'll deal with some of the bigger companies that have chemical waste, some of the breweries that have a different type of trade effluent. So, you know, we do cover the full spectrum of requirements and can talk to people about various aspects of the industry. There's a lot of knowledge based here at Pure, so we'd like to be able to offer that to the ASSC and its members going forward. I would be delighted to arrange one-to-one consultations with any of the members. That could be potentially to quote for members to see if we can actually save you money on your current provider, or if you're interested in switching over to Pure Utilities. But again, equally as important to offer advice for anything that you need going forward regarding your commercial water requirements. And as you can see, my details are displayed on the PowerPoint slide, along with a calendar link, which enables you to book an appointment directly with myself, or you can either phone me, email, whichever is easier. And it'd be great to set up some face-to-face meetings with some of the ASSC members. So we're looking forward to building a great partnership with the ASSC, the members, and indeed my other business partners. So thank you very much indeed for listening, and thank you very much indeed for your time today.
Thanks, Stephen. That's great. And it's a real pleasure to have you on board with the ASSC and to get all that expert advice and knowledge and to have that available. And we will be sharing that link with everybody so that they can get in touch with you quite easily. So
thank you very much.
Thanks ever so much for that overview, Stephen. Next, we've got Ian Jardine from Solway Water, who's going to give us some advice on water hygiene. Hi, Ian. Are you there?
He's gone to get a cup of tea.
I think so. Are you there, Ian?
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm definitely here.
Hi.
Manning over.
It's over to you, Ian.
Yeah, how are you doing, Mel? Thanks very much. Yeah. So thanks very much for inviting us today, Mel. Really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to give you a wee introduction to my business and what we do. So my name is Ian Jardine and I own Solway Water Management. It's a small water hygiene company and we're based in Dumfries and Galloway. So we started the company about 4 years ago and started off working in Dumfries and Galloway and now we're basically the whole of Scotland as far as up to Inverness. We do West Coast, Aberdeen. We also do Yorkshire and a little Cumbria. So we're a micro company. There's only 4 of us all together. Myself, we've got a Legionella risk assessor and a water hygiene technician, and we've got an admin assessment. Okay, so what is water hygiene? A lot of folk don't understand or I've never really heard of this industry before. And before I got into this, I was a plumbing and heating engineer, and it was all new to me. But there is quite a big industry out there, and it really applies to everybody in this sort of holiday let and hotels and things like that. So basically, what do we do? Well, we specialise in how to keep your water safe and free from harmful bacteria and pathogens. Okay, so this allows you to be able to drink it safely and also use it in a recreational environment. So, for example, if you get a swimming pool, if you get hot tubs, if you're hosting any open water events, we will be able to give you advice and consultancy how that water can be safe to use. Typical clients we have are holiday home owners, hotel owners, holiday parks, glamping pod. A lot of farmers diversifying into agritourism. That seems to be really popular now. So what services can we offer to you? So first of all, really our core is specialising in Legionella risk assessments. Okay, so who needs a Legionella risk assessment? Basically anybody who owns their property. Okay, if you rent a flat out, if you got a holiday home, hotel, then you legally should have a Legionella risk assessment in place. Okay, so typically we would come on site and we would carry out a Legionella risk assessment, and sort of things we typically find that's not getting done is things like monthly water temperature checks. Legally, you should be taking water temperatures, hot and cold temperatures from dedicated sentinels within your property to control Legionella. Shower heads, if you've got a shower head, you should be cleaning it, descaling it every 3 months using a proper shower head cleaner. Also, if you've got a water storage tank, we would inspect them, have a look at it, see if it's fully compliant. When was it last cleaned? When was it last disinfected? Other things are things like outlets that are not used every week, classified as infrequently used outlets. So we would identify them, and specifically with hotels and that, if they've got lots of rooms and there's rooms that are not getting used every week, then they become stagnant and they can become a Legionella risk. So we would identify that and put in a management system to flush it every week. Also, other things as well, Legionella awareness training. That's something you should really have if you're implementing Legionella monitoring within your property. Then you should have an understanding of Legionella, where it comes from and how you can catch it. Also, logbooks, everything we're talking about here, everything has to be documented in a logbook. And again, quite often we find that stuff's getting done but not recorded. So again, we can help put a management system in place, supply logbooks, training. And also what you have to remember as well, that once you do this risk assessment, typically we review it every couple of years. Okay, So what other part of the business do we have? Well, we have a large part of the business is involved with hot tub management. So there's a bit of a pandemic of hot tubs now. Everybody seems to be getting these hot tubs. They boost income, and everybody seems to want it now. So they get very, very popular, and we're very heavily involved with keeping people sort of above board with the required legislation. Again, if somebody contacts me wanting some advice on hot tubs, again, I would say first thing is implement a Legionella risk assessment. Okay. Again, things like if you're going to get involved with hot tubs daily, then you should have some sort of training. So again, we can come out on site, give you bespoke training. Also, we'll look at the daily checks, the chemicals you're using. Are you changing the water? Are you changing the filter? How often are you doing this? And also, the biggest part of the business that we offer is the monthly microbiological water samples. So that's not to get confused with the daily checks that yourself would do, but we would come around and take water samples for bacteria like Legionella, E. coli, coliforms, Pseudomonas, take it to a lab and get it analysed, and then report it back to you. And first of all, having a monthly sample confirms that what you're doing to your hot tub is actually working. And also it does protect your business as well and your reputation if something goes wrong. So we started off with 40 hot tubs and we're up to 560 hot tubs now throughout the whole of Scotland and Northern England. And also what we offer with our monthly sampling is an application that you can download to your phone, and you put a barcode onto your hot tub, you scan the barcode in, and you can record the daily checks. So this really is really popular because you don't have to record it anymore in paperwork. You can also add pictures as well to it. Okay. So finally, the other thing we specialise in is private water supplies. Being in Dumfries and Galloway, being rural, there is a lot of private water supplies. Myself, I live on a farm, my dad's a farmer, we've got private water supply. So the council will come around and they will implement a risk assessment if you're commercial, that is, you're a farmer, or if you've got a holiday house, hotel, etc. And they'll come out and they will say, take a water sample, and if it fails, then it's up to you to try and remedy that. This is when we can help, so we can sort out things like cold water storage tank, deep cleans. So we've got a 4x4 vehicle, we can go up to most tanks, get most access to it, remove all the water, hoover all the sediment out, disinfect it, give you a certificate, and then resample the water. Also things like ultraviolet light filtration, we can install them and service them for you.
I need to rush in, sorry.
Sorry, and just get a wee prompt here, and also we can give you water samples as well for water sampling and for water quality. So if you want any more further advice, get contact with me on my email or phone number. And also, if you remember, you can log in, and there is guidance sheets on all three topics that I talked about. Okay, so I'll hand you back to Melanie.
That's brilliant, Ian. Thanks so much. I know there's so much to go through there, and yeah, as you say, we have got the guidance sheets, but excellent to have your contact details there with such a wide range of services that you provide. So that's brilliant. Thanks for sharing all of those.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Mel. Thanks
a lot. Next, we've got Robert Kennedy from Super Control, and Robert has been one of our partners for business for a number of years. It's brilliant to see you again, Robert. I hope you're well.
Thank you. Yes, very well, thank you. And thanks for having us along this morning, or this afternoon now, to talk to everyone. So I'm Robert Kennedy, one of the founders of Super Control. Many of you on the call will know of us or be one of our clients. We provide booking engine, property management system, channel manager for the self-catering sector, specifically self-catering, and hence the long partnership with the ASSC. Today, I will be very quick, but I want to take a slightly different approach because so many of you may be familiar with us already. We have a lot of clients here in Scotland and also throughout the UK, and been doing a fair amount of work on data in the last month or so to just try and understand what 2022 might look like. And I wanted to share this slide today, which is comparing for the first 3 months of next year, and the pattern is largely similar as you go through the next year, but certainly our immediate future. You can see there's essentially a significant increase in occupancy when we compare with the same set of properties that existed in Super Control back in 2019. So it's sort of 13,000 properties as a sample to understand what demand looks like, and it is still very strong. That doesn't mean that all of you are booked 100% for January, February, March, but it does give us really good data-driven evidence that 2022 is starting out as a very strong year and carrying on from this final quarter. I did this review on, I think it was Friday last week, and obviously, as normal, the whole world's changed again a bit since then. So that's only going to the recent changes are only likely to increase our demand for domestic tourism. So as we look in towards 2022, I'm sure all of you on this call have already done some preparation for next year. But look, knowing that the demand is high, I would really urge you to go away and do a couple of things. First of all, really make sure you're happy with your pricing. We're looking at very high demand, and your pricing should reflect that. I would personally advise looking at working with our partners at Beyond here and opting for dynamic pricing. This climate that we're in is absolutely perfect to take advantage of that. And certainly from my own experience and experience of many of our Super Control clients, seen significant benefits from that in the last year. The second thing is getting back in touch with distribution, your listings. It's possible that many of you have, over the last 6 months, not struggled that much to get bookings because the demand has been such. While we're definitely looking at another good year, I suspect it won't be just quite as easy to get the bookings. So make sure at this time of year that you're focusing on your listings or creating new listings on different OTAs and channels. That's going to be really, really important again as things become a little bit more competitive next year, as we start to see more people entering back into the sector that may have exited or new properties joining. So that's really just a couple of things for you to focus on as we move towards 2022. Really make sure you're focusing on your pricing. You almost certainly will be able to charge more than you think you can. And secondly, now is the time to be focusing on your distribution partners, including, of course, your listing on Embrace Scotland, the ASSC website. Any questions about any of this? A couple of email addresses there on the slide. Just get in touch.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Robert. And I guess going over the next few months is really a key time for people to be looking at their businesses, their pricing, and absolutely optimizing everything to, obviously, I would have thought January, you know, and early part of next year are going to be a key time to be really maximizing on those bookings for next year.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to get some further curveballs from COVID over the coming months, but all of that, as we already have seen, drives domestic tourism. So, you know, that we've got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Robert. Thanks ever so much, and thanks for that introduction. And we'll definitely share your details for people to get in touch. That's great, thank you. Next up, we've got Andy Mcnulty, who's co-founder of Touchstay. Andy, are you there?
I am here.
Hi.
But not on video yet.
Let me see if I can help.
There we go.
Brilliant, hello. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you, everyone. Mel, would you mind actually putting that one back on the screen, just temporarily?
Yeah, sure. I think Joyce is going to.
Or Joyce, yeah.
Great.
That's
thanks.
great. That's great. Yes, I'm Andy Mcnulty. I'm the CEO and co-founder of TouchStay. And for those of you who don't know what TouchStay is, it is a replacement of the binder, the welcome binder that you would typically have on the coffee table or the kitchen counter in each of your homes. It's the one that the guest would pick up, try and read a bit of information, possibly walk away with certain pages, so you have to reprint them later. Possibly they wouldn't find page 6 because the previous guests had taken it. Chances are some of the stuff's out of date because it's a pain in the backside to print stuff off and constantly keep it updated. So as you probably gather, TouchStay is the solution to that because it makes all of that content in a digital form and allows you to update it from your computer, and any guest who's got that product in front of them will have that information updated automatically for them. Given that we're not Airbnb, so you may not be familiar with this, I'd like to actually demo the product on the screen so that you can actually see what it looks like. I think that might be more helpful. So I will attempt to share my screen if you can remove and give me the rights, Joyce, to share my screen.
You should be okay to go, Andy.
Fantastic, thank you. So let me give myself 1 second to get my phone oriented, and then I will share my screen with you. Okay, let's see if we can share my screen. How's that? Do you see my phone on the screen?
Yeah, we do, thank you.
Fantastic. First thing to say, when I cast my phone to the screen on sessions like this, it does lose a bit of resolution, so it's slightly pixelated. What I want to talk you through is the process that a guest would experience. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a guest and I've received this email from the person I'm staying with. And this is the way you would deliver it typically to your guests. And if you're integrated with something like SuperControl, for example, then you can just create an automated email letter inside SuperControl, which will deliver this automatically to your guests. So there's no repetition here, no tedious kind of manual reworking of tasks. You just need to create that email in the system and it will then automatically send it out to booked guests. So in this one, it says, "Hi, Andy, we hope you're excited about your upcoming stay at Green Lodge. Please ensure you click on the custom welcome guide, which you'll find as a link below." And what we try and do is encourage everyone to put bullet points. And the bullet points are really the most frequently asked questions that you get asked by your guests. The point being that this product is supposed to help you eliminate those tedious questions. And believe me, it does work. So over the summer months, just to give you some idea, we had about 500,000 guests accessing various guides on our system. As of today, by the way, just to give you a sense, we're on about 17,000 properties that use the platform. And we consistently get feedback that this is massively reducing guest questions and really actually making your jobs much easier. So as a guest, I see this, I see that it can answer my questions, and I have a link there at the bottom to click. So this is what would happen. I would click that link as a guest. It will open up the guide on my phone. And it gives me, you see there at the top, a prompt which says, do you want to add this to your home screen so that you can access it offline? It's optional, so I could hit the X button to the right, but I'm actually going to click add, and it says, this is what it's about to do. I click install. At the bottom of the screen, you can see it says it's adding it. If I then go now to my homepage, watch what happens. It's now put that on my homepage. So as a guest, I've now got this app. In the middle is your branding. So you get to choose your branding. You can upload your logo. So when I click that, it now opens the guide in full screen view. So I'm now working as an app. So the technology here has enabled you to have a guest add the app without having to go to the Play Store or the Apple Store, not have to sign into anything. It's just here. The front screen is entirely branded to you, so you get to log in, upload your logo, put your own photo in the background, your property name and address, and there's a simple, very, very simple, deliberately simple navigation. I personally wouldn't have chosen the lime green color. I might have muted it down a bit, but that's entirely your choice. You can choose your color. And then I just navigate around as a guest to things that I'm interested in. So arrival information. All right, I want to know what time arrival and check-in is. There it is, tells me everything about that. And you can see handy things like you can put a photo of the lockbox. You can also replace this with video. So if you wanted to just do a quick video to show guests how to open the lockbox or how to operate the keypad or where to find the key, etc., you can do that. All sorts of information. It has a map as well at the end. And the map allows you to, first of all, show the guest where they're staying, which is the blue house icon. So I could click the blue house icon, and then I could hit get directions, and it would open up Google Maps, where it shows me where the location of the place is relative to where I'm staying. So right now I'm a good 10-hour drive away. It's nothing more fancy than Google Maps, by the way. But if they're back on the map, they can also look at other things that you've suggested. So we don't populate this with things automatically. You get the choice to determine what you want to be on the page. And there's a simple Google search box inside the platform that allows you to find a place and add it. So you're not having to really do a lot of manual effort. As a guest, I can tap at the bottom and I can filter places. So I could say, today I'm interested in restaurants. And it shows me all the restaurants that have been listed. I might decide that I want to go somewhere close to the home. So if I click this one, it shows me what it is. Again, I can hit read more or get directions, but if I hit read more, it takes me back into the guide where this one is listed, and there it is on the page. So that's a very, very quick overview of how it all works. Mel, would you mind putting back onto that slide for me, please?
That's great. I'll get Joyce to add that.
Oh, Joyce, sorry, Mel.
Yes, no, it's fine.
So that's a brief overview. I know we haven't got long, so I've kept it deliberately short and sweet. But if you do need to get in touch, I'm andy@touchday.com. Feel free to email me direct, or you can go onto our website, try the product for 14 days. You can also see there at touchday.com/example-guides. You can go and have a look at what real customers have done. Pricing is £76 plus VAT per year for one property. Subsequent properties are half price or less. So if you've got a portfolio of 10, it's much less than 76 times 10. And if you have a bigger portfolio, if you've added content already and it's very, very similar for your other properties, you don't need to recreate that. So the system will allow you to share that content across multiple guides. And that's me done. Thank you, Mel.
That's brilliant. Great introduction. Thanks, Andy. I think that's so useful when you constantly get in questions from guests, and you can really narrow down those popular questions and have that, you know, available to people without that constant interaction. I mean, interaction's great, but also to be able to direct people, you know, to those key things is really valuable. So that's great, and hope there's lots of people get in touch with you on that, because it's a really great product. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Mel.
Next, we've got Marco from Verbo. Hi, Marco, are you there? I feel a bit like you're...
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hi, Marco.
I'm not able to... You cannot see... Okay.
Yes, that's great. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you, Mel.
Over
And,
to you.
hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Marco, and I am a market development manager at Verbo, VRBO. So if you are a property manager interested in onboarding your holiday properties to our marketplace, regardless of whether you manage your properties manually or through a channel manager, I will be your first point of contact at Verbo. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Verbo, we are a marketplace for vacation rentals, mainly targeting complex large families or large groups of friends. Our guests who come to Verbo for a comfortable, high-quality guest experience are looking for entire homes equipped with kitchens and convenient amenities. If you are not already a host on Verbo, I want to give you at least 3 reasons why you should be. First, we can help you get more global exposure. So when you list with us, your property is automatically distributed across all Verbo global sites, including local sub-brands such as Fivo Direct in Germany or Abritel in France. And we are talking about almost 16 million monthly unique visitors. And additionally, listings with Verbo makes a property eligible for distribution on Expedia Group family of sites, with 730 million monthly unique visitors. So your listings get in front of more people that are looking to book. Second, well, maybe this reason is way more important than the previous one, because I've talked about quantity, but what actually makes us stand out is the quality of our travelers. They spend more. Our customers are not highly price sensitive and stay longer. On average, families who book on Verbo spend 5 times more than other travelers, stay 3 times longer than other travelers, and give excellent reviews to their hosts. And we all know how critical reviews are if you are in the vacation rental space. And also Verbo is an American company, really popular in the US. So we receive a lot of bookings from the US, and this is beneficial for our shoulder and low season because their peak season doesn't match the European one. Third, we give you access to insights into market and travel statistics based on property, pricing, location data, and your listing settings. For instance, we can help you check whether your cancellation policies or payment terms match top travelers' search filters and other travelers' preferences that we see on our site. And we share this information to enable you to make smart decisions to optimize your visibility, bookings, and revenue. So if you are new to Verbo and you would like to list with us, or you maybe simply want to explore more about who we are and how we do business, please reach out using the link that you can see on the slide. You are more than welcome to take a screenshot of it. And I can also share, Mel can share my email contact details on the chat as well. And that's it. We are really willing to see you on Verbo. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks very much, Marco. Great to have you involved.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's really key actually to focus on those shoulder seasons and being able to maximise on opportunities. So thanks for highlighting that. That's great.
Thank you.
Next, we're going over to Matt Jeffrey, Director at Zeal. Hi, Matt.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Been really interesting listening to everybody. I'm going to share my screen as well. Mal, is that okay?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, go for it.
Sure, so share screen. Should take a second. Click share. Oh, yeah. Can you see that, Mal?
Yes, that's great. Thanks, Matt.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Matt Jeffrey, and I'm the Tax Director at Zeal. Let's get to the next page. There we go. Apologies for that. So Zeal are a specialist tax consultancy. We specialise in tax incentives and reliefs. So we're not the typical accountants. We are just tax specialists. We are a team of 30 plus now, with regional offices around the UK. And we consider ourselves the go-to experts to help self-catering accommodation owners to shine a light on untapped tax savings in their properties. So we are chartered tax advisors, but the key difference is that we also are qualified property surveyors as well. And so far, since we've been a member of the Ask for the past 12 months, we've helped Ask members save in excess of £1 million in tax. So probably the best way for me to explain what we do in a short space of time is to play you a short video which explains the key service that we offer to self-catering accommodation owners. So here we go. Oh, I'm gonna need some volume. Sorry. Oops. I have a feeling this might happen. Yeah, for some reason I'm not getting any volume. Sorry, guys. I don't know why not. Oh, you are. There we go.
Imagine you could claim the The subject of tax is enough to want to make you stop watching this video. But if you carry on watching, your bank balance might be better off for it. Imagine you could claim tax relief for embedded fixtures in your building. Items like lighting, heating systems, the pipe works in your walls, up beneath your floors, even the handles and locks on your doors. Imagine receiving a cash tax rebate from HMRC and reducing your tax bills for several years. You can, thanks to government legislation called Capital Allowances Tax Relief. Capital Allowances Tax Relief allows you to claim a tax rebate on anything in your building that wouldn't fall out if some scary giant came along, turned it upside down and shook it. Thanks to our team of friendly, specialist tax experts who are lovely, clever people, not scary giants, we've helped business property owners identify millions of unclaimed capital allowances that their accountant was unable to. If you're wondering why your accountant hasn't claimed for you, or perhaps thinking they already have, the truth is, even though it's about tax, it's not a service your accountant will provide, simply because you need the skills of specialist surveyors and capital allowances experts, just like us. So, if you've purchased, built, or extended your property for more than £100,000 and you've been paying tax in the UK for the last 2 years, you could receive a cash rebate. Rest assured, 100% of our submitted claims are approved by HMRC, and our no-win, no-fee policy means you have nothing to lose and lots to gain. What's more, we do all of the hard work for you. We just need a few minutes of your time to check that your property qualifies. So, what are you waiting for? Book an appointment with one of our
Okay, so we got there in the end, so hopefully everyone was able to listen and hear that. I'll give you, here's an example of how it actually works in practice. So in this scenario, a property was purchased for 307,000. We're able to identify capital allowances of that within that purchase price of 77,392. This provided total tax savings of 15,478,000 and a cash rebate of just under £5,500. The next one. So there's a lot more information that's available for you to find out about the service we offer. You can download a copy of or request a copy of our a guide for holiday let members, or if you have a network of holiday let owners that we also have a guide and an introducers scheme for that as well. There's some more information about me and how to contact us. I'm actually also doing a presentation next week, which will cover the tips and tax pitfalls for service accommodation or short-term let accommodation owners. So hopefully some of you can get along to that next week, because there's some really good tax information within that for you. Is that okay, Matt?
That's great. Thanks, Matt.
Sorry for the technical issue.
That's all right. My sound was a little dodgy. I'm not sure if it was the same for everybody else, but we can always share a link for the video anyway. So
yeah, it's on our website as well. But if anybody wants any further information, just get in touch with us.
That's brilliant. Thank you. You might want to.
You have to stop sharing now. So yeah. You can tell I'm a tax specialist, not an IT person.
Oh, that's brilliant. So yeah, Matt mentioned we do have another ASSC talk coming next week. So please join us for that. That's next Tuesday at 11. And just a reminder, we've got the licensing industry briefing. I'm just going to share that on the chat. The link for that, where we'll be giving you an update. A couple of other of our partners that couldn't be here today. We've got Sykes, Unique Cottages, and we also partnership heavily with Visit Scotland, of course, and they really did help us kick off our ASSC talks when we started doing that. Hopefully everybody will be able to see the huge amount of partners that we've got, and I know, Fiona, you've been working really hard to build up our partnerships, just to really be able to provide members with some really top industry advice. whatever you're looking to do with your business over the winter is naturally a really good time to be looking at operations, and all of our partners are really set up to be able to help you to do that and be able to provide you with advice. We are, I think we've said before, we are developing our membership platform, and we'll have more information on that coming forward over the next few months, but that will give you greater access into the membership portal and to be able to access all of these contacts and services. But I want to extend huge thanks out to all of our partners for business today who've taken the time to provide us with some really interesting insights. And we'll continue with the ASC talks over the next few months. We've got some quite interesting things coming to, you know, be able to provide you with updates and things like that. So most importantly, do join us next on Thursday. We'll be joining with the B&B Association, Scotland's Best B&Bs, Scottish Land and Estates. Joe, I think, is going to be there as well, and hopefully get lots of representatives from across Scotland just to really provide some advice on the short-term lets, which is the imminent subject that we're all concerned about. So look forward to seeing you on Thursday and again on Tuesday for our next ASSC talk. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll provide more information on all of the partners that we've had today. Thanks very much. Bye. See you soon.